So, welcome to Cricbuzz Chatter. One test to go in this series, and so much can happen. I mean, sometimes you go into the last test of a series, it's decided, and everyone says, "Yeah, right, let's go through it." But there's so much that can happen from England's point of view. Ensure that you don't lose a second home series. From India's point of view, 2-1 ahead. Ensure it's not 2-2. Can you make it 3-1? There's only been one occasion in the past where India have gone overseas, won three in a row, only once that they won two test matches in England. So there's still a lot to play for, which is fantastic. And that's not a bad time to bring in the Manchester import, if I could say so. There have been a couple of imports to Manchester. One more popular in recent time. He's come back. He's playing day after. But the Yorkshireman who's gone to live in Manchester. Welcome to Michael Vaughan.
Yeah, welcome, Harsha. First and foremost, I'm sure you want to hear the weather.
Yeah, always.
You're expecting me to be saying it's muggy. There's a little bit of cloud around today that I believe will stay around for tomorrow. There might be a few showers on day one. I'm led to believe it's going to be dry over the weekend, but there could be some clouds around which might help the ball swing around. I think light will play an issue. We're in September. We know the lights will be on at the ground, but I don't think we'll get all the overs in every day. I think the draw's the favourite. I have to say, I think the draw's the favourite. But England will need some action with the swing, with the seam. They'll hope that these clouds that we have today stay around tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday, because it feels like a day that the ball will be swinging around. So England, I think, have got the forecast that they would have liked. The concern for England is that we might lose a bit of time, which obviously it makes it a little bit more difficult to force the victory.
Win the toss and field first kind of surface, you'd imagine? I mean, that's been the topic of so much conversation.
I'm not so sure. I mean, I need to see the pitch tomorrow. You look at, at Lords, everyone thought it was a good toss to have won and bowled there. India won that game. The same at the Oval, India won that game. I actually think it's been a series where you want to lose the toss. So you want to try and work out what the coin's going to come down as and call the other side, because I don't think either captain really wants to be winning the toss in these conditions, because you're a bit unsure of what to do.
Now, England have done something interesting. One, of course, Butler comes back in, but England have brought in Jack Leach. Now, you couldn't have the unthinkable where England play two spinners, and the whole narrative around India is that you play only one. Because I think they've said that, I think Joe Root has said that Moeen Ali will play. Though I thought a left-arm spinner, and Leach was very impressive in India, takes it away from a predominantly right-hand batting side, but I don't know what that does to the balance. So England play one spin, two spin, and therefore India play one spin, two spin. Is the end of the series. We're still having that debate about India.
Well, India will certainly play one spin. I can't imagine that Virat's going to get to the last game with this formation and change it, having gone 2-1 up. So I think India will stay with their formation. It'll just be which of the seamers miss out. I'm sure Shami will come back in. I would play Jack Leach. I think Jack Leach should have played a lot more this summer. All those right-handers in the Indian batting lineup. Now that Chris Woakes is back in the side, he's your all-rounder, so Chris Woakes could easily bat at 7 in English conditions. And then I would play Jack Leach as the number one spinner. I think he's the best spinner in England. Joe Root said that Moeen Ali he's going to play. I personally would have gone with Jack Leach. Let's see if they play two. I'll be amazed if we're in September, Harsh, particularly at the venue Old Trafford, where spin hasn't played a massive part, but it just plays enough of a part for one spinner. I'll be amazed if England go two spinners going down the final stretch. So I think Jack Leach, he's probably been called up to just get around the squad, but I personally would play him.
It's interesting, though, that, I mean, you did say on an earlier program that it does spin at Old Trafford, but the numbers are saying from 2015 onwards that it's the ground where spin struggles. Spin has taken averaging 42. Pace is doing a little better. So I guess that takes away from two spin. I'm thinking from India's point of view. Actually, there's one other selection issue for England before we get there, because Butler's come straight back. Two-time father Butler is going to be behind the stumps now. So Bairstow goes away, Pope goes away. I mean, Pope made 81, struggled in the second innings. Bairstow at a crucial 30-odd. So Pope or Bairstow? I'd imagine Pope, wouldn't you?
Yeah, Pope will play, I'm pretty sure. Johnny Bairstow just hasn't taken his chance. He's played nicely. He had a nice 50 in the game, nice 20s, 930s. But, when someone like Ollie Pope comes in and plays so well for his 8-1, looks a class act, you can't manoeuvring him out of the side. So I think it'd be a straight swap for Butler for Bairstow. Johnny will be disappointed, but that's the nature of high level sport. If you don't, really get that, when you get that chance, really grab it and make sure that you become a permanent member of the side. When a young player comes in and plays as well as Ollie Pope, surely England have to stick with him.
I think there's some selection issues in the Indian camp as well, because I don't know what the fitness situation with both Cheteshwar Pujara and Rohit Sharma is. We haven't heard anything, so we'll just work on the assumption that they might be fit, because you really do want Rohit Sharma playing up there up front, given how well that they've how well him and KL Rahul have opened. I think the issues with the bowling, Siraj looked a little flat. I don't know what the situation with Jasprit Bumrah is, because he's bowled a lot. Why are you smiling, Michael? There's a reason you're smiling.
Well, I was going to ask that question because there's a lot of talk about Ronaldo around these parts, but there's also a lot of talk about Jasprit Bumrah, and potentially he gets rested this week, Harsha. I know there'll be one or two excited England batters if they decide to rest Jasprit Bumrah. Can you give them a little bit of relief and say to the Indian selectors and the Indian kind of management, he's in that red zone. You don't want him to get injured. So if I was you, I'd be resting Mr. Bumrah. Can you possibly make that
is that you presenting an England point of view and saying I'd rather rest Jasprit Bumrah? Look, I don't know, Michael. You've been in these situations before, but I'd imagine that if Bumrah runs the risk of breaking down, and you're going into a test match, you're playing 5 bowlers, I know, but if you think Bumrah could break down at some point in the test match, then I'm quite happy to say, okay, no Bumrah. If you're saying we'll rest Bumrah because there's a lot of white ball cricket coming up, I don't think the optics of that would be great. So my view is, Sunil Gavaskar has gone on air a couple of times and said, look, if it was 2-0, I wouldn't mind resting Bumrah, but it's 2-1. The series is not done yet, so you can't afford to give them a chance to make it 2-2. My own feeling is, yes, if he is indeed in that red zone, if there's a fear that he'll break down, then you've got no choice. Shami comes back. And listen, Shami and Umesh Yadav was still a pretty decent new ball attack. And then there's also the question of Siraj. Siraj just seemed to tail off after Lords. Has he done a lot of bowling too? Do you want to see if Ishant Sharma is fit? Do you want to give Prasidh Krishna a debut? So on that bowling front, there's a little bit. What's he done in this series? Yeah, Lords, he took 8 wickets at Lords. In other tests, he's only taken 6. So I think that's the issue. My gut feel is they'll want to play Bumrah if possible, but as you said, if he's in the red zone, then nothing you can do.
Yeah, I would rest Mohammad Siraj. He's just at the start of his international career. He's done great. I think he's the one to just give a breather to. Shami comes in for him. I'm joking about Jasprit Bumrah. He has to play. 2-1 in a series. It's a massive, massive series this for India. They won in Australia. They win here. They're well on the way to be. I know they lost the Test Match Championship final, but in my eyes, over a period of time, they're the best Test team in the world. On the one Championship final, anything's possible, particularly without any cricket, of which New Zealand had a couple of Tests practice. Bumrah has to play, even if they play him and say, "Look, we're not probably going to bowl him as much." In that 4-man seam attack, and obviously a spin option in Jadeja who can hold an end. I think Bumrah has to play.
There's also a cycle that set in. I remember in 2018, I remember saying that this was the best opportunity India would ever have of winning a series in South Africa, in England, and in Australia. Now, as it turned out, India lost 2-1 in South Africa, lost badly in England, and won in Australia. You play the side you're up against, but Australia without some of their best players, some of their best batsmen. But now that has come round again. India have gone back to Australia, won a series there. India win here in England and then win South Africa. It's the greatest time in the world to go to South Africa and win. India have never won in South Africa before. I think there's history calling India. And given that there's history calling India, you must go in with your best possible combination to try and win this. So I think my view is pretty clear. And then, of course, there's one last shot at Anderson versus Kohli. People have been writing off Anderson from the point of view of age, from the point of view of retirement, not performance. We've been talking about retirement longer than some people have careers, but does he have enough in the tank to come out once more? Is there one little finale, Anderson versus Kohli?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure England have to play him in the clouds around. He's on his home patch. He's got an end named after him. He doesn't always bowl from his rightful name end, but I think, Harsha, we've got to. This is going to be the last time that these two great players are going to be going at each other. It's been an incredible contest over many, many years. I know the last 3 times here in England. Jimmy had him first time, and then Virat bounced back. And then in this series, it's a little bit 50-50. Virat not getting the big scores, but particularly in the last two Test matches, he's started to play nicely. When you've got someone like Jimmy Anderson with a Duke ball, I do think as a student of the game, if you like now, I think it's the hardest examination for a batter. When you've got to face Jimmy Anderson with a ball that's moving around, he's relentless on length. He's relentless on skill. And I don't think, obviously facing, high quality spin in India is very, very difficult. Facing the Cummins-Hazelwood combination in Australia is incredibly tough. But I don't think it gets much tougher than Jimmy Anderson in English conditions when the ball's swinging around. And it is going to be the last time. I can't imagine that Jimmy's still going to be running in ball 80 odd miles an hour the next time India play England. So let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy this next few days. I honestly hope that Jimmy gets the final word. I want Jimmy to get that final moment. Because we've witnessed Jimmy over many, many years bowling to Virat Kohli, and it's just been like that. It's ebbed and flowed, very much like this Test series. It's been up and down. India in front, Virat in front, England in front, Jimmy in front, and now obviously India have just got the noses in front. I hope Jimmy can have the final laugh and the final kind of skill moment of that great contest, because I think over the time you've watched, Harsh, when you watch a Virat and an Anderson battle, it's right up there with the best.
It is absolutely. I know what you're going to do next. Having worked with you so long, you're going to come up and throw me some figures about Old Trafford. I've got those numbers in front of me as well. But there's always
Well, Harsh, I must say, it's all the talk, and I've said from the get-go that I think India are going to win 3-1, and I'm on track, and I still think that. But there's a big but. India have never ever won a Test match at Old Trafford. They've played 9 times. They've lost 4 times. I think it's 4. Now, they're not great stats, and this Indian side, I would say, if this Indian side don't win this series, I would count it as a big failure. How would you count it?
Look, England were unsettled when the series started. There have been times when England have been very powerful batting sides, and I don't want to go much further back. But I'm thinking Strauss, Cook, Vaughan, Peterson, Bell, Pryor. Those were really good batting sides. Anderson, Broad in their prime. Those were sides that were difficult to beat. But now you're coming back. England very unsettled with the top 3. No Stokes available in the middle order. No Archer for a major part of it. Broad goes out. This is India's best chance of winning a series in England. And I'm with you. I think it'll be a lost opportunity if India allow England to come back 2-2. And it's something that should hurt if India don't win here. Because if you don't beat an England side with so much going in your favor, then it's tough. I know India's batting hasn't been great. We haven't talked about Rahane. I don't know if Rahane will get one more game, whether they'll want to bring a Vihari in and get another spin bowling option, whatever. Those are issues. But yes, if India don't win this series against England, they ought to be very disappointed. But we'll wait and see. As we keep saying, that next door in that other Old Trafford, there's a big football occasion. And I'm told, Michael, you sort of warmed up for this game playing golf with footballers.
Forget the golf, Harsha. We're excited for the ball to start swinging around at about 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, and Jimmy Anderson to work a bit of magic.
And we'll wait and see. And Rohit and Rahul will keep leaving it, and then start picking runs after that. We'll wait and see. Thank you very much. As usual, we'll be delving into Michael's mind and get his insights as we go along in this series, and then hopefully wrap up with 3-1, maybe 2-1 if it rains. Goodbye.